Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. I got to finagle a little bit because I have some echo through my mic, even though with it's off, so I'm just going to be muting it back and on with this video. But this video is really important because we're taking time to actually kind of look at what's happening with YouTube views. Now, if you haven't noticed necessarily, or you don't have a channel, YouTubers, big and small, including myself, we've been seeing that there's been a change in May or June, July, and we're seeing less viewer counts, and we're seeing kind of less engagement. We're seeing algorithm drop off, and it's actually pretty bad. But these guys, they've been digging around, and let me show you actually who they are. I'll link this down below as well if you're interested. But yeah, this is Gothic Therapy, and clickbait is dead. YouTube has changed engage or die. So let's go ahead and have a listen to this.
At first, we thought it was just a fluke. Views dropping, comments slowing, and shorts dying on impact.
But it wasn't just us. Small creators, mid-sized channels, even some of the big ones were all reporting the same thing.
The algorithm wasn't just misfiring, it felt different. And since it wasn't election season, some kind of mischief had to be afoot.
So we did what any sane caffeinated couple with questionable sleep hygiene and schedules would do.
Recognize we're the problem and switch to decaf?
No, we reached out to friends. Because if we're not sleeping, why should they be allowed to?
That was not my idea, just for the record. But we asked for data, and our friends delivered.
Even at 4 a.m.
Bad kitty.
Meow.
We didn't want to jump to conclusions. YouTube's algorithm is about as reliable as a blind lawyer with anger issues.
I'm a really good lawyer.
So we pulled real data from 5 channels.
Channels of different genres, different sizes, and different upload schedules. It didn't matter. The numbers lined up like suspects in a police lineup.
Except every suspect was guilty. Top 20 videos in the past 90 days across 5 channels showed the same pattern and the same result.
There was a 96 to 100% correlation between total views and engaged views. If a viewer didn't actively engage with a video, their view no longer counted.
And what that means is the engagement is they subscribed, they liked, or they commented, or even disliked. That's technically engagement too. But what we've been kind of used to with views is the passive views. But this is kind of insane. The reason this is really weird, I want to show this again. So right here is the public views and the engaged views are exactly the same. And it's not it's not supposed to be that way. Now, they did only have 5 channels, okay, and they looked at the last 20 views that they've had in the last 90 days. But public views should be way higher than engaged, right? But the fact that it's so correlated, and, we get to see these subscriber counts, 1 million, 100,000, 15,000, 250, and 60,000 subs. But they're all showing the same type of data point, where everything is perfectly correlated. And something is just really off there. That's basically an improbability. Let's keep listening.
Engage with a video, their view no longer counted at all.
YouTube changed what a view is. It was rolled out quietly, framed as a Shorts update, but it's way bigger than Shorts.
So, what is an engaged view? Well, it's the kind of view that YouTube actually counts now. Not the number you see on the public counter, but the number they track behind the scenes.
Basically, if someone clicks your video, watches most of it, and either likes, comments, or subscribes, congrats! That's an engaged view. Anything less might as well not exist.
And here's the twist. Based on the data, anything less than an engaged view actually does not exist anymore. Just a ghost in the algorithm.
That's why our numbers show a near perfect match between engaged views and total views, because they're now the same thing.
YouTube changed the rules. You don't get credit for being seen, only interacted with. It used to be engagement boosted a video, and now no engagement, no view. End of story. Back in 2024, YouTube said they wanted to kill clickbait. And well, they did. They just covered up the murder, buried the body, and hoped no one would find it.
Until we dug it up. The corpse and the data.
And the thing that sucks here is, if they completely changed what a view means, that means that ultimately they pay out less, YouTube does. And they talk about this later in the video. I will link this down below. Please give this some actual engagement, not just a view, right? But yeah, I'll link this in the description below. But yeah, this is completely wild to me. And I've got to seen this too on my own channel some, but I wonder if Google is having financial trouble. We know too that in the earlier 2020s, engagement was great, right? Revenue ads were really high. Everyone was making a ton of money. Well, that COVID money and stimulus, and also all of the loans that a lot of companies got, things are returning back to normal with now higher inflation. And so I think personally, Google, they're trying to actually save money on this. And this isn't just taking the top tier guys, this is basically across the board for everybody because again, they're changing what a view actually means, and per their policy and rules that they have that partners agree to is like, yeah, you're paid on views. Well, if that only means actual engagement now, again, like subscriptions, likes, dislikes, and comments, then yeah, those views actually don't count. And that also means that they pay out less. Now, generally speaking, most people only have 7 cents per 1,000 views. It can be higher than that, it can be lower than that, but generally that's kind of the average right now. Some people too can also have contracts with Kicker or Twitch or YouTube or anybody else, but we also don't really see too many of those anymore either. And again, there's just not enough money in the system to keep it all going. But I want to show my own content here. And I gotta say too that like I started noticing a change probably around in May or the end of May, but definitely in June where it's just like, man, stuff has just completely fallen off a cliff. Now I will say that I have some various differences in views here. Some of these are playthroughs, right? So they're really, really long. Or two, there's also videos that are gaming news for the week, which are also really long, usually over an hour. So like the numbers are going to be generally different for the most part. But generally speaking, the more engagement that I have, the more the video actually goes up. Now, you could say too, okay, that well, if you have more views, you're going to have more engagement. But yeah, what we're finding with at least the small sample size data here from Gothic Therapy is that you have to have engagement now to actually get picked up by the algorithm and shoved out to actual more viewers. Because we'll see here. Let's see. Let's actually go back a few. Let's see. So this would be what? This would be April. So yeah, this is March. Okay, March. We're kind of seeing a trend. There's a little bit of engagement, but not a ton. But I mean, it's pretty easy for me to hit like 100 or around 75 maybe. And some of these again did really good. 2 comments and 4 likes. Oh, and a dislike. Don't forget those either. Like or dislike, folks. It's all okay. And but yeah, I'm hitting a pretty good stride here for a lot of my videos, even my gaming news stuff, right? And then as we start getting into May, it's still generally the same. There's not a ton of engagement. Some of them have more than others, but yeah, the view counts don't really seem too reliant on that. When we go back to now, uh, dang, is it kind of less? So there's some engagement there. There's 3 likes. This didn't have any engagement and get only 29. This only had 1 like, only had 13. This had 33 likes and dislikes and 44 comments, and I had over 1,000 views, which is kind of insane. So the correlation here seems to be better suited between lesser views and more engagement. And earlier in the year, the engagement really didn't seem to matter. It was more about the actual passive watch time. And that's just what I'm purposefully seeing. Now, I've been doing content since what, 2023? I've been doing it for quite a while. And to actually see this change and shift, I first it was like, man, am I doing something wrong? Like, what's going on? So like I made some polls and I also got some new subscribers, so I wanted to see what kind of they were looking at. But again, like my engagement counts, it's really tough. If there's not really a ton of engagement with some of these videos, I don't have very high likes. And some of the other ones, they were never really built that way. Now this had 100, and I had 5 total engagements. But like some of these other videos, 600, I had 13 likes, dislikes, and 15 comments. And like, that's abnormal, okay, for me, for my channel. But a lot of these, you'll notice a lot more of these actually have engagements now. And I usually have more views, even for the longer ones. I maybe normally get like 3 or 9 or something like that. But yeah, my engagement counts are generally higher, and the engagements that are basically 0 have very minimal views. So yeah, this is kind of where we're at. That seems to correlate. And earlier in the year, I could look back at my analytics for videos and be like, oh yeah, it was the watched time. People watched a lot more, so I got more algorithmic engagement and shoved out there to more folks, just like a short, right? And shorts still actually seem to work like that today. I'll take a look at my shorts here. And again, there's like a little bit of engagement, but not a ton. That only had 22. Boy, that was a long time ago. And some of these have some, but like this had 11. That was 1,500. This would have been back in March, so a little bit engagement, you know. But oh wow, that's a ton. What? 100 likes? What the frick? Anyway, that's news to me. And but yeah, so there is some engagement here, but it's like it's not crazy. The numbers aren't really changing that much. That had 5,000 views. My word. So yeah, it doesn't seem to really change much with shorts, but I would say definitely with videos, at least with mine personally. So what do you guys think? I mean, are you guys YouTubers? Are you guys seeing some changes and some adjustments? But like, we're talking about Ludwig, we're talking about Tectone, we're talking about some ordinary gamer. Gothic Therapy has seen this. Smash JT. I'd be kind of curious to see some others too and what they see. And again, I think this needs to be a conversation so we can kind of figure out what's going on. But YouTube/Google seems to be really, really sneaky with what they're doing because again, they don't necessarily want to actually pay, which I think is junk. Okay, they should pay. This should be open ended, right? They're already, in my opinion, not paying a ton anyway. Again, it's 7 cents for 1,000 views. So there's already not a ton of monetization there for most people. But maybe YouTube just thinks they're paying ultimately too much. And so they're trying to shrink that down. So, yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, honestly, if you like a certain YouTuber or Twitch follower or whatever, the best thing you can do at this point, at least for YouTube, is engage. That's what we're seeing with the data. And what Gothic Therapy would like to do is actually get more channel data so that they can actually take a look at it and see actually what's happening instead of just 5 channels. They'd like to give a much bigger sample size. So if you could help them out with that, go ahead and contact them too and let them know. But yeah, this is kind of becoming a YouTube problem. And again, I thought it was just me. I thought it was just something was it was my fault. Okay, the viewers weren't engaging. That still could, of course, be part of it. Absolutely, I'm always going to try to improve my channel. But if YouTube is changing what a view means, and the views, then if there's not a lot of quote views, the algorithm isn't going to pick it up and it's not going to promote it, and YouTube is ultimately going to pay you less. Without telling you that just feels really scummy. So, yeah, this is interesting. I'm going to keep my ear to the grindstone on this, and I'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, also sub to Gothic Therapy. They do a wonderful job of digging into some of this stuff, and they do different topics, But yeah, they really focus on gaming, and I at least so far with the stuff I've seen, and yeah, I really like their channel. So anyway, with that, folks, you can always follow me at Gaming Garbage 22 at YouTube. Also, be sure to engage again. Any channel that you enjoy out there, engage with those channels. We also have playlists at Gaming Garbage 22. We do a myriad of different stuff, as you saw. And then also there's Twitch at Don't Turn on the. And when I'm playing video games, I'll chat with y'all when I'm not dying on screen. But yeah, this just kind of has me perplexed and curious. And yeah, I just really wonder how this is going to work out. So with that, folks, I'll see you guys on the next one.